All right, welcome back. Mayhem breaking out all over the world, and somebody who's been right in the belly of the beast joins us now to break it all down. Frank Morano joins me, along with, again, Dinesh D'Souza.
Mr. D'Souza, I am curious. It's so funny that you should come out with your book now because it seems like so many of the things that you write about in your book and so many of the dangers that you warn about in your book, we're now seeing those play out in real time in the streets and on our television sets. I am curious how you would rate the leadership of people like Bill de Blasio and Andrew Cuomo, and even the Minneapolis mayor, Jacob Frey, people who have gotten a particularly big platform over the course of the last 8 days. How do you think they're doing?
Well, I puzzled the last couple of days over why a mayor of a city would see looters destroy shops and stores, threaten people, produce an atmosphere of barricades and fear, and then hold back on the cops. It's almost like they have a high degree of tolerance, if not complicity, if not encouragement for the looters. Why would someone feel that way? And then I realized why that is. When de Blasio looks at these looters, he sees a younger version of himself. He was exactly like that. A little thug himself, a champion of thuggish regimes around the world, a great fan, for example, of the Sandinistas, who would beat up their opposition in exactly the same way like Antifa does. And de Blasio was down with it, as they say. And now he's older, and I think he wants to do the looting himself in a more systematic way. In other words, through confiscatory taxation, an orderly transfer of resources, which he then would get to parcel out in exchange for votes. So there's not a great deal of difference between a socialist politician like de Blasio and the socialist thugs on the street. They're both accomplishing kind of the same goal, although perhaps in a somewhat different way. This is, I think, why we are facing a moment of crisis, why Trump realizes that there may be a need to step in. People are like, oh, wow, you're using the military here in America. I mean, we're so used to the military protecting people abroad. It's almost like with some surprise, we realize we might need the military to protect the American people. And isn't that why we have a military after all?
Yeah, it sure seems like Trump was trying to send the message yesterday, hey, if you guys don't do something, I will. And everybody was talking about, oh, during COVID, they're going to be martial law. It sure looks like if this thing doesn't quell today, it looks like Trump may take a lot stronger action.
Well, I predicted it will quell, and I think the reason is really simple. Antifa is really good and really confident and really strong when they are beating up storekeepers and little old ladies. They're not really good when they're taking on the rapid response of the 82nd Airborne. So paramilitary, meet the U.S. military. I think we know where that one's going to end up. We're going to see these Antifa guys running with their tail between their legs because they know they finally met a force that is not going to back down.
Understood. So in our last couple of minutes here, I personally always thought you got a bum rap, and I know you mentioned earlier that you were, unfairly treated by the deep state, to a smaller degree. How do you feel? We're gonna have a prosecutor on next, but how do you feel about criminals getting let out of jail, and then at the same time they won't let General Flynn off the hook when the prosecution doesn't even want to prosecute?
Yeah, I think that the judge has essentially taken the law into his own hands in the most corrupt way. And I'm glad that this is being appealed to the appellate court. I'm also glad that Trump has had some years to reshape the courts because there's nothing more dangerous than lawlessness at high levels. A criminal with a badge is a lot more dangerous than a criminal on the street. And so these thugs that we've seen at high levels in the FBI, I mean, literally entrapping people, setting out to get them. In my case, it was a little different. In my case, what they did is they used the full arm of the law and the legal bludgeoning of the plea bargain system. It's kind of like, Dinesh, you exceeded the campaign finance law. But we're going to accuse you of mail fraud and bank fraud.
Right.
We're going to add all these charges that will send you off to prison for years. You'll, destroy your relationship with your family, unless So that's their game.
All right. Thank you very much, Dinesh. We got to cut it. We got to leave it there. We thank you so much. Go out and check out his book, The United States of Socialism.